All right, so it's about to be midnight soon, and honestly, kind of in this vibe or flow, if you will. So I'm riding that out. I'm not really tired just yet, and just looking at charts. So I'm getting ready to just go through pins. Now, I'm recording this for those who aren't watching. I'll probably post this tomorrow morning, something to watch over the weekend. But um, what we've just had is an uncoupling of the quarter from all the other time frames, right? Remember, if you remember from the Zoom sessions on the first day of trading of this year, I talked about how everything was coupled. All the participation groups are coupled together um, because it's the first day, the first trading day of the year. So all of those time frames would pretty much show the same direction. And the thing is, when it comes to full time frame continuity, you want as many time frames uncoupled as much as you can. You want as many of them to be uncoupled because it shows you, what the participation group truly thinks and how they're, trying to trade that particular ticker. So now that the quarter has been uncoupled from, the month, the week, and then also the daily, now we get to really see, what's going on with the different participation groups and really like if you, truly see FTC, whether it's bullish or bearish, you can trust in like, hey, all these different participation groups are thinking the same thing. So actually, I wanted to just go ahead and get some of the sector review out of the way and just kind of see how the sectors have been shaping up. I would imagine it's going to be a lot of bullishness, right? Obviously. So, first place that we're going to start with, let's go ahead and just look at the SPY, right? So, let me clear all this out real quick. Um, so yeah, with SPY, looking at it, actually, let me sort this to because we're not gonna spend too much time on each sector. We're just gonna really kind of look at it with for just the daily, weekly, monthly, and then quarter, right? Right. So boom, boom, boom. Okay. So obviously looking at the larger time frames, right? Full time frame continuity is bearish. And actually, um, yeah, the only thing that looks like there might be a pullback is probably what happened on Friday. But honestly, looking at, again, the quarter we go 3-2 up, right? We just broke this previous high, displacing above it. So I would imagine, next quarter we're probably gonna end up creating a fair value gap, actually. Oh yeah, so that would be structure breaking then, right? So because we just broke the high with this. So if we get a candle to create this fair value gap, it's going to be a structure breaking fair value gap. So definitely bullish on that on the long term. Has been respecting all of these fair value gaps on the way up as well too. 2-2 continuation on the strat side. And then, yeah, 2-2 continuation, right? After breaking structure here on the weekly with the previous week, creating that fair value gap. We wicked down into that fair value gap, and then boom, there you go. Just could not stay in force on this 2 up. So again, makes sense considering what you're seeing on Friday, right? Friday we tested the highs of what's that, 524.11. We tested those highs, rejected. So what we could potentially be seeing is um, a pullback. I won't really say it's a reversal, considering that we are respecting all the bullish trends, right? We're respecting previous highs, using them as support or just shortly above it and bouncing higher, respecting the fair value gaps as well too. So I would just say it's probably going to be a pullback, if anything. Or for all we know, we can continue pushing, right? Friday could have just been low volume day and, not really a sell off per se, just more of controlled selling, I would say. And then, yeah, we probably get a two up continuation, or at least a candle. I would say if we can get a candle displacing above this high, 524, yeah, I would imagine we're probably looking at SPY 530, somewhere around the 530s potentially. So yeah, that's SPY. Qs. Um, yeah, Q's kind of paint a little bit of a different picture on the daily, but honestly, the picture is still pretty much the same comparative to SPY on the larger time frames, right? Then we just finished off the quarter again, and so we are 3-2 up on the quarter. Definitely completed that TTO 2-2 continuation, just like with SPY. But we actually have an actionable signal on after going 3-2-2 rev strat. We now have an actionable signal on the weekly, excuse me. So that will either give us a 2-1-2 reversal to the downside or a 2-1-2 continuation. I would still, honestly, I would just mark it out, maybe even set an alert because what could potentially happen now you're looking at the daily, right? Had a little bit of consolidation here. So um, we'll see what happens if it goes 2-1-2 to the downside on the daily. I would say just pay attention to these levels right here, that 441 level. See if that holds. Also obviously structure break and fair value gap that's still being respected. As I imagine, let's see, is that 50%? Yeah, see? So respected here and then wicked off of it there. So probably pay attention to that 442 area, see if price starts to hold around there. Then what you could potentially be dealing with is power of three, right? Accumulation, the pullback, that's your manipulation, and then the distribution to the upside will probably propel Qs up above 447, probably attacking buy side liquidity on the daily up here, basically 450, right? That's where I'll probably see Qs going if we get that type of bounce. In which case, then we're probably either going to see a 2-1-2 down on the week, right? And then the following week, you probably get a rev strat, or if it does trigger to the downside and then before closing out the week, heads back up to take out that 447, you'll probably see outside week on the Qs. Yeah, we'll see what happens, right? So next, let's take a look at IWM. I know y'all been mentioning it. I'm gonna put a 443. Oh, for Qs, let me see. Yeah, I mean, if it does that right, hits that 443. Just think about this area. Honestly, for me, is probably where either I would take profit or if you have multiples, then maybe leave runners or something like that. But this would be the area for me where I would think about possibly ending that. I don't know when your expiration is, but think about ending and getting out of that trade because, so far it is still a bullish trend. I know it's been consolidating here, but it's still a bullish trend. You haven't broken structure to the downside just yet. So, something to think about next week, Monday. Like this Monday coming, or you talking about the following week? So not April 5th, you talking about next week or this week, April 5th expiration, this Monday? Oh, this Monday. Okay. I mean, yeah, it could do it. It could do. That's honestly, there's some tickers that I'm bullish on, but I'm kind of hoping we do get, a pullback, preferably on Monday. indecision day, and then like Tuesday will be the turnaround, and that would make it perfect to get into some of these longs that I'm looking at. So yeah, I actually hope it works out that way. I really do. IWM. So with this one, I kind of been seeing. I mean, obviously, flow is flow, but I've been kind of seeing some flow lately on the 190 puts. Um, just something to be aware of if anybody's in IWM. But for me, honestly, when I look at it, with the exception of the shooter on the daily, I mean, it looks rather bullish to me. So maybe Flow knows something that I don't, but you got a 3-2 up, 2-2 continuation on the month, 3-2 up on the week as well too. Yeah, it looks rather still bullish to me. Yeah. I mean, the only thing, again, like I said, the only thing is the daily with the shooter. So maybe you could, maybe it's going to be a little bit of a pullback, but let me see, where would 190 be? That's wow, that's well, yeah, for that's a major. Huh, that's so weird. Like, there's a lot of puts out for the 190 too. Hold up, give me a second, y'all. Let me just real quick. Full entire month, and then oh, I did say I'm sorry, 198. My apologies. Um, yeah, seeing a lot of flow for that came in around the 27th for the expiration of May 17th, the 198, but a lot of volume on it too. So yeah, I don't know if like their market or the market makers, well, they probably do know something, but yeah, just something to be aware of. But for right now, for me, with the exception of daily, it still looks pretty bullish. What I would do is, and actually for this one, you actually have targets too. Like you're not even at all-time highs, which is beautiful. So you have targets to go hit, right? So obviously, like this one up here at 212, and then um, even your next liquidity, buy side liquidity would be up here as well too. Boom, 227, right? So I mean, with the way it's looking on the quarter, right after all this consolidation, we finally skyrocket, right? Lovely manipulation with the three, right? To take out lows, completely manipulated the shorts on there, and then took out highs, went outside. Looks like ultimately we're probably working on at least from on the higher time frames. It looks like we're working on a TTO to essentially take out this high up here. So obviously, I don't know when that would happen. It could be 4 or 5, 6 months from now, but yeah, it's on the higher time frames still looking rather strong to me. And as far as the 198s, yeah, I would at least want the week to look a little bearish, but it doesn't. Not right now. I don't know about it going down to 198 just yet. I need to see something. It's got to show me something in order for me to really say, yeah, I can see the move down to 198. Again, the only bearish argument I can make is on the daily. That's that there's a Broadman formation, so that could be exhaustion, the top of the Broadman formation, so that could be exhaustion and therefore leading to a pullback. But I don't know. I'm not seeing the bearishness just yet. Hmm. I mean, if price were to come back down, get a 2-2 reversal. I mean, if anything, I'll probably go for like the 205s or the 200s, not 198. See where that's, yeah, yeah, 205 probably be the best one. But anyway, all right, moving right along. Hold up. Oh yeah, I'm gonna get to D. Let me finish out just the sectors real quick. So just gonna skip over to y'all should really check out metals and mining, XME. Um, and so, obviously it looks bearish on all time frames, but I was also saying from a long-term swing standpoint, you have a holy grail on the quarter with an inside hammer. You got a 2-2 reversal on the month, and then 2-2 continuation on the week, right? Peep the support, right? That price kept finding, right? So I think maybe what we're looking at is kind of a very rounded TTL back to the upside. So I think prices at the very least coming for that level, 61, 62. And then you can start looking at where buy side liquidity is on the week, which is up here, right? So, possibly XME up to 65. So there's a couple tickers in there that I like out of XME. X, I believe, is in there, but then also you think about tickers like AA, and that's why I said to chart it, right? Because I'm looking at XME, and then what's the similarities here, right? So just like with XME, we get an inside hammer on the quarter, right? Obviously, it's not outside, but we get an inside hammer on the quarter, and we have a PMG setup to the upside, right? Just to zoom in so you can kind of see. When we're looking for PMG upside setups, what we're looking for is 5 or more consecutive candles in a row. 5 or more consecutive candles where the high of each candle of each following candle is lower than that of the preceding candle, right? So, for example, basically each candle before it has to have a high that's higher than its high. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 candles where the high of each candle is lower than that of the previous range. All right, so this sets us up on the quarter for a 2-1-2 reversal back to the upside, coupled with the potential. Obviously, I can't say it's all going to be done in one quarter, but you have a lot of targets to take out in close vicinity to each other, starting at 35, 30, and then 37. And then we have, the bigger move up to 42, 43, if you will. But the move from 35 to 37 is rather short. And, with enough time, you can probably, you can probably see price get there, right? Also, I believe on as far as the fibs go, I believe we are, just above OTE levels. Just above OTE levels, right? So this is another reason why I'm liking what I'm seeing with AA on the quarter, right? And then for you stratters, if you need your broadening formations, more than one broadening formation. So yes, I'm well aware of the formation that's here as well, right? So more than one broadening formation, but if it helps you feel better, I can go ahead and take that out. There you go. So what does this tell us when you draw out this broadening formation? It tells us that we are at the bottom of the range and we have exhaustion over the last 3 quarters. And we have, with this inside candle, we have an actionable signal inside hammer on top of that. So we are set up potentially for a 1-2-2 rev strat. Excuse me, not 1-2-2, a 2-1-2 reversal back to the upside, right? And at that point, I'm probably not going to mark out external liquidity up here. I'm probably just going to really set this more as the target. I'm sorry, 1 second. I'm actually charting this out, so I gotta do it the way that I would do it. So boom. Hold up 1 second. Oh no, that's the wrong one. My bad. Let's say buy side liquidity. Krishan Watson. Oh, okay. So yeah, buy side liquidity is there. Work out sell side down here. All right, so but obviously, I mean, honestly, from this, um, I'm not really looking to go ahead and go puts on this, right? Also, if I am not mistaken, just bear with me, y'all. I'm discovering. So I think this is considered, is this considered still learning inversion fair value gaps? Hold up one second, y'all. Let me look at there we go. Let me go back to my notes on that real quick. So in order for it to be, no, it's not an inversion because it would need to come from a downtrend, create a fair value gap on a downtrend. So hold up. Told y'all this is just mainly a charting session. So it would need to that. Nope. Okay. No, that doesn't work. It does not fit. Okay. So either way. But anyway, like I said, I'm not really thinking bearish here, right? So I don't want this to really muck up too much of my charting on the smaller time frames. So I'm gonna categorize this to just stay on this interval. Let me get rid of you real quick. Yeah, there we go. And I want you to stay on every interval. So can you. All right. Okay. All right, so yeah, so on the monthly, right? What are we seeing on the monthly AA as well too? And we see first started out as a holy grail, then it went 3-1-2 down. And I've been talking about this in my past Zoom sessions where you see like this same candle layout over and over again. Holy grail followed by inside. Usually the next candle is either whatever it is, it's either going to be a two up or a two down, but the next candle of and basically the holy grail transitions into a 1-2-2 rev strat. I've just been seeing that a lot. Obviously, it doesn't do it every single time, but I've been seeing that a lot lately. Whenever it goes like that next two candle, I can pretty much see it like reversing and going two up, so it ends up being a rev strat. So, um, what I would say is like if you see things like that, if you see the 3-1-2, maybe as you're charting, you can probably even set alerts and like see how often like that setup works, right? Because then you'll have another nice little setup that you can pay attention to, that you can look for, I should say. Okay, so what we're looking for here, if price continues to go up, is going to be a TTO, right? Breaking this high up here to the upside. So with these targets, I'm actually going to get rid of you since you are actually a monthly price target, but you're also I don't want to label you like that. There you go. And then I also want to mark out if we move up pretty high, I want to mark out Actually, no, I want you to stay on the month only, just so I'm aware of it. Okay. So yeah, on the monthly, that's what we're looking for. We're looking for the 2-2 continuation. Um, we get that, we create a fair value gap down here, and then if the following month after that ends up displacing above as well too, we can end up with a structure breaking fair value gap. But again, still coming from the lows, we caught that this first reversal, the Nirvana, then it ends up being a 3-1 Holy Grail. Then we get the dip, but as you can see, exhausting in the same exact range, and then we get the 2-2 reversal, or excuse me, the 1-2-2 rev strat back to the upside. All right. Um, so then again with that, then we're going to go into the weekly real quick. And yeah, weekly's looking a little bit, better as far as continuations. We just TTO back to the upside, looking to do an even larger one, uh, taking out this high, which is the monthly price target of 35. So depending on how much time you're going to give it, I would say probably look at the 35s for April 19th. But honestly, I kind of like the 40s for. Oh shit, I forgot to write down the expert. Honestly, the 40s probably for May, but I am saying that without having looked at that actual contract. Hold on one second. Yeah, it has decent volume, about 1,500, open interest 10,000. So yeah, I would definitely say the 40s, and honestly, that would give it enough time to run up to the 50s if it was feeling good, if it was feeling froggy. So I would say that. Anyway, yeah, that's AA as far as that, the weekly, and then also I think the daily is showing, yeah, 3-2 up as well too. So everything's looking rather strong on AA. Switching back over to materials, XLB, coming back out into looking at all four. Change this to the quarter. Yeah. So same thing here, right? Still looking bullish, 3-2 on monthly and quarter, 2-2 continuations on the week. So still looking bullish, honestly. XLC. So XLC again on the higher time frames are looking bullish. This may actually end up giving an opportunity um, for puts potentially. Again, we inside on the week, but what I'm looking at here is I want to see how this plays out, because this to me looks like accumulation, and then this could be the manipulation, and then the power of three to distribution back down to the downside. Looking at the daily, I mean, I wouldn't quite say like definitely bearish, right? It's a 2-2 reversal, but obviously couldn't stay in force, so we'll see what happens. So far as bullishness, we haven't changed structure. There wasn't a change of delivery just yet. I'd imagine, though, we probably need to displace below this fair value gap and hold below it. In which case, if it does work out to be the power of three, then what I would say is probably, if you get into puts, probably target this low down here at 77.92, right where there's a gap fill on the daily. Probably will bounce from there. But yeah, if it's still bullish, then obviously I would say again, look at your calls for Meta, look at Netflix, etc. All right, let's go ahead and go to XLE. Actually, XLE went outside quarter. I was wondering when like if it was finally going to do something, because it didn't want to die either. But it was, honestly, this is the top of the range. I believe there's a broadening formation that shows that we're kind of close, right? So, but I like it. Energy's been definitely doing this thing and it's been fighting. So we actually end the quarter Nirvana, right? So we're looking for, honestly, because it's bullish, that 132 to the upside. Now we do have, Holy Grail, we did go 3-1-2 to the upside on the month, so we'll see if we get that continuation. Week is definitely working on a PMG downside setup, but I mean it's still looking strong. Got the TTO, so got that next hump right there, that high right there, to close out or displace above, and we'll see if maybe that happens first before a pullback. But yeah, for right now, energy is looking bullish. I would say check out your CVXs, check out your XOMs, check out MRO. That's small ticker friendly. Actually, XOM is small ticker friendly too, but Emerald is a slower mover. However, once she gets directional, she can definitely pay. There's a couple others out there too, but let me just name those for now. Take a look at financials real quick. Financials, probably like can't stop, won't stop. Um, what was I gonna say? So yeah, 3-2 on the quarter. PMG downside on the month, but showing no signs of slowing down. And if the trend is strong, right, what you'll see is that fair value gaps will tend to make other fair value gaps, and that's what it's been doing. Structure breaking one, and then another one, and then another one, and then another one. So yeah, still looking rather strong. And same thing that we're seeing on the weekly. And then yeah, we just TTO'd on the month. So Banks is where it's at right now, bullish wise. Banks is where it's at. So definitely check out your GS, your Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, that's MS, JPM, Chase, right? JP Morgan. What's it? Bank of America, BAC, aka Brianna, Wells Fargo, WFC as well too. So yeah, definitely don't sleep on financials. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, at least three of those tickers that I called out are small account friendly. So you could definitely make a bag off the banks. Who would have thunk it? Um, let's look at XLI. I like actually I kind of like both CAT and DE, and yes, they're both in the industrial sector. And Boeing's also in here as well too. But um, excuse me, sorry. So even though we could not displace above this high, we couldn't complete the TTO, or by displacing above it, just really tapped and excuse me, just really tapped and exhausted. Still overall bullish on XLI. Honestly, I think, it would kind of be like what Phil says about, about what he was saying about NVIDIA a while back, just buy the dip. I kind of feel like that with industrials, right? If it does dip, it's just more like a buy the dip situation, not necessarily we gonna, reverse and crash and everything. Because yeah, it's still looking rather strong. So if anything, if it does dip, probably to come and take out these highs, grabbing liquidity and before making the next leg up. Cool. If not, then yeah, I'm bullish on it. If it triggers to the upside, then yeah, it's probably going to continue to go. Now, again, I do have to mention that it is at all-time highs, as you can see. So there is, potential for exhaustion risk. Something that you have to factor into your decision making. Well, as far as how far out or how committed you want to be to calls when you're already at the top of the range. Because remember, they're not going to keep buying shit at premium, for long, right? Eventually, at some point, it's going to correct itself. All right. So next, what we got? Let's see, XLI and then XLK. Honestly, tech has just been like back and forth in this range for a minute now. So that's all tech's really telling me. I mean, ultimately still bullish, but on the daily is what I'm talking about. Ultimately still bullish, and then yeah, you can kind of even see it on the weekly as well too. Looking at the bodies of the candles, it kind of staying in the same range. So yeah, we got actionable. Excuse me, we got actionable signal on the week. 3-1 Holy Grail set up. So we'll see what happens. Um, but honestly, with XLK, same thing, right? It's like obviously you can play shorts, you can get in puts, but for me, it's still a buy the dip type situation, right? Especially if it just dips below to take out the lows over here, right? Right, because clearly there's support there. So take out these lows, grab some liquidity, and then yeah, it could make that reversal back to the upside. Um, yeah, we just TTO'd on the quarter. Well, not just, but TTO'd on the quarter too. So yeah, I think XLK is gonna be bullish for a little bit overall. But yeah, I think there's probably gonna be some pullbacks along the way. Um, XLP working on a TTO, huh? I like it. So basically, XLP is trying to get above probably up to 80. Yeah, see. So you got your buy side liquidity up there with the quarter. Oh wow. XLP would have been amazing to have gotten in back in October. Jesus. Can you see that run? Wow. Man, and it's looking strong too, man. Very strong. Yeah, even though we had a bearish day, right? Could not displace below the previous high. So these could be acting as support now, right? So I would mark that out and maybe even set an alert. Like if it comes down and touches the bar and crosses below, but then crosses right back above, set that alert for when it crosses above and you might be able to catch an entry on a smaller time frame or something. But yeah, XLP still looking rather strong. So I suggest checking out costs, checking out Walmart as well too, just so you're aware. All right, we're gonna skip over utilities real quick and just finish out with healthcare and XLY, consumer discretionary. Um, so yeah, with healthcare, we're up on the quarter to reversal actually. Actionable signal month ended as an actionable signal, ended outside. So we'll see what fruit that yields. But looking at the weekly, right, clearly finding support again. 145-ish, 144 level, finding that support. So if price, comes back down to this level and breaks a little bit and starts reversing, then I think you have an opportunity for a long for XLV. Now, as far as the daily, obviously the daily, nope, didn't. It kind of double topped, right? Trying to take out this high, exhausted around the same exact area, same exact high. So we may see, a bit of a retracement starting on next week, but you know, we'll see. Ultimately, again, with the larger time frames being bullish, again, it would just be an opportunity to either enter puts, make some money, and then get in longs, or just sit patiently, don't enter puts since you're not comfortable, or if you're not comfortable with trading them, and then get calls on the reversal back to the upside. And then last but not least, we got XLY, consumer discretionary. Yeah, hammer, actionable signal, Momo hammer on the quarter. Um, yeah, great pullback on the monthly, but just could not displace below. So maybe this starts acting as support on the monthly. And then on the weekly, yeah, still looking strong. Even though it's a inside candle, we still looking strong to the bullish side, right? Because there's your fair value gap. We came down, dipped below it, came back above, right? Closing above it, displacing above it. So now you get the retracement back to retest that same fair value gap that we just crossed up above. And now we get that bounce. So I'm totally anticipating, I would be anticipating a 212 to the upside, taking out this high and then continuing to push higher. we'll see how that plays out though, because obviously on Monday, ended with a shooter on Monday, so we'll see how that goes. All right, so that's the majority of the sectors. Obviously, you can check out other ones. I encourage you to check out Jets as well too. But yeah, as far as I haven't completed my charting just yet, but there are a couple ones that I wanted to talk about. So Sal came out with DE, and that one actually showed up in my scan, so I wanted to go ahead and chart it as well too. Um, kind of like see what see why he's looking at certain things. All right, so first thing that I want to talk about is going to be on this one. Let me get rid of you for just now. All right. So first thing that we've seen is that we went outside and hammered on the quarter. Really like that. Really, really like that, right? Not only is it aggression, but we also get that. I'm clicking on the wrong thing. My bad, y'all. While I'm trying to talk. Um, so we get that hammer as well, and then also outside candles. So outside candles are aggressive candles, right? Because they're reversal candles, right? So you know how aggressive the other side has to be to not only reverse price from the downside, but then to go ahead and take out the highs as well too. So we're looking for a 3-2 continuation on the quarter, hopefully blasting through this broadening formation. Now on the monthly, what we're working with is a 2-2 reversal, plain and simple, right? Since this swing pivot, we've been making higher lows. And clearly we seem to have found support around this area, right? So we've clearly found some support there on the monthly. What, probably you should do is mark that out. So in case price ever revisits that area, this could be a cheat code for a nice long, especially if you see price, repeat itself like what it's doing over here, basically bouncing off and holding this as support. It'll be lovely, actually. So yeah, that's how we're looking like on the monthly, and then on the weekly, yep, two twos across the board, two twos across the board, all the way up, right? Taking out this high, that high, so TTO. So your next target, for liquidity is going to be up there at 423.35. Then your next target, again, it's going to be at 441.47. Actually, the highs I think are at like 450. Yeah, so 450, right? Now, is that possible? Absolutely. With the ATR that DE has, it's definitely possible to get all the way up to 450. And that ultimately may be where price is targeting. It might be targeting that liquidity up there. It might be targeting those buy stops up there. So this is definitely something to watch. The 450s, but I'm not sure as far as it's an ATR of 6. I guess the 450s could probably go for either May or June. I don't even know what the cost of that would be. I'm just curious, actually. Let me look it up. The May 17th, 450 is 345. I mean, spreads are wild, but yeah, it's 345 a contract. That is the ask. Um, for 450s. Yep. But yeah, I definitely like the way that it's looking right now, especially coming from these lows, bouncing off of that, and then pushing higher. So we'll see. I mean, again, I'm obviously since we're doing this from a swing standpoint, we can actually afford to wait for a exhaustion and a retracement. Let's see. Yeah, it's still holding. I mean, but yeah, we are at the top of a broad information as well on the daily. So definitely something to pay attention to for sure. See what price wants to do around there. Honestly, I would love a pullback. For me, when I see those pullbacks, it's like thinking discount, you know. So yeah, that's DE. I think I showed you on AA, and then the other one, I don't have many because again, I really haven't fully done, the starting just yet. But just a couple that I think would be good from a swing setup. Where did I put? Oh, okay, yeah. NCLH, right? So, all right. So what are we seeing with NCLH? So if you don't know, that's Norwegian Cruise Lines. First, what I did is I actually looked at the sector. I mean, it's in many sectors, but cruise sector, has the cruise lines and then some other tickets in there as well too. I can't remember all of them, but some other tickets in there. So things could be going. I'm sorry. I just want to see like if things are going well for the sector in total, right? So with the quarter, obviously we go 2-2 reversal, and again ending the quarter as a hammer. So I like that. I do. Ultimately, looks like we're looking at GT. Who's talking? Oh, my tablet. Oh my God, yo, these always damn Amazon things are like just constantly talking. You ain't say nothing. Having trouble connecting to the internet. What? Hey, y'all can still hear me, right?
Yeah, we can still hear you, bro.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Then it
you're
must.
good.
I guess it's just the tablet then. Okay, just making sure because yeah, the shit was saying I couldn't connect to the internet, so I'm like, oh, is my laptop about to go? Okay. So yeah, looking like it wants the TTO back to the upside. So basically the 25 call for cruise, seeing that on the quarter, 2-2 up on the month, and then again 2-2 continuation. So you get the picture that right now the cruise sector is looking rather strong. I mean, hell, even with this two up, that's obviously not a force. We're still respecting this previous high that should act as support if price comes back down to visit it. But yeah, with that being said, you check out your CCLs, you check out also NCLH as well too, Norwegian. Pretty cheap, just like with CCL, definitely a multiple contract type of ticker. Um, what was I talked about the quarter, and then also now I'm talking about the month gave you the 1-2-2 rep strat. That's how we close. So again, we can continue. We're looking for the 2-2 continuation, taking out this high and then TTOing back to the upside, taking out this buy side liquidity over here. So then we get the TTO back to the upside. Looking at the weekly, so the week is showing signs of exhaustion. So again, this is not something that you're going to probably want to enter immediately on Monday. This is actually ideal because I want this to pull back so that I can get into a long at a discount, honestly, at a discount. So that's what I'm looking for uh, right now, actually. And I just want to see something here. Right, so something to take note of on the weekly, if I draw out the fibs, the 0.62 levels or 0.16, excuse me, 0.618, I just rounded it up to 0.62, but I mean, essentially it would be the 0.618 if you're leaving your fibs alone. As you can see, the 50% of the weekly fair value gap is very close to the 0.62 levels. So if price were to retrace back here, although I'm not saying it will, but if it were to retrace back here, this actually sets us up for an amazing long. If we can get exhaustion and then followed by a reversal, that sets us up for an amazing long back to the upside, possibly targeting the 20 call. But anyway, the way it is now, for NCLH, excuse me, on the weekly. If we do continue pushing up, then yeah, I'll probably target the buy side liquidity at 22.75. So basically 23 calls is what I would be looking for. And then yeah, on the daily we end up with a 3-1 holy grail, right? So again, ideally what I'm looking for is actually a 3-1-2 to the downside, maybe coming back to try to retest this daily structure rig and fair value gap before the reversal back to the upside. So I honestly would kind of want it to do something like this, trigger 2 down, touch the top of that fair value gap, and then we get the 2 up back to the upside. All right, so that's essentially what I'm looking for. But yeah, I like the setup. I like how we bounced off the fair value gap this first time over here. So, hopefully this is the start of an uptrend for NCLH. All right, so that's all I got for now, honestly, because again, like I said, I haven't really done much more charting. Like, I've only come through a couple of tickers so far. But you kind of get the idea of what I'm looking for when when I'm charting on the long time frames, and how things are setting up and how the larger time frames are tying into the smaller time frames. So DE bounced off 50% of the week. Yep, there you go. So and yeah, those fair value gaps, definitely pay attention to them, especially, I really like looking at them on the weekly, and especially if they get respected as well too. So anyway, that's my 2 cents. When I have other tickers, when I'm done charting the other tickers over the weekend, I will reach out. I'll do a video, probably by Sunday, right? We'll do the video and we'll talk about some other tickers. But so far, really liking AA, really liking DE, really liking NCLH. I would say because of DE, also chart CAT if that thing's looking strong. Take advantage of that as well too. All right, y'all. I'm gonna go ahead and go. When this is done converting in the morning, I'll go ahead and drop it in to the education channel. All right, y'all. Have a great night.